Welcome everybody, and it is the fourth International Female Teacher Roundtable. Welcome. Nearly we are, yes, we reached 40. Okay, nearly we are 40. And thank you for your all joining to this roundtable and all these. This is the fourth year, and it is incredible for us to learn from you, actually, the participants, to talk with you, to mention the experiences that we have. Thank you very much. And I'm Professor Dr. Huriye Toker from Yaşar University Women Research Center, Izmir, Turkey. It is just nearby the Aegean Sea, and around 10,000 students. And we are having gender studies course. Therefore, thank to the Sabine Prosnek, Professor Prosnek. It is important because we are creating an international environment with that 4 years. We are trying to learn from each other. Thank you very much. Now I would like to give floor to Sabine first, and then I'll come to the talk about the 8th March Women's Day.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Huriye. Warm welcome from my side to everybody. It's really great to have you all here. As Huriye said, this Female Founders event, we do that for quite a while. We started it with the KAIT, which is our Center for Entrepreneurship at the University of Kapfenberg. And its origins are in an EU project. And that's why it's always been an international project by design, so to speak. And that's why we have this international round, as well as very regional founders here at our university. And we always try to somehow interlink those two projects with each other. First, I want to tell you all, also the audience, that we are recording this talk today. So that means we want to use this record then on our websites as well as on our social media to promote a little bit what we do. So if you don't want to be seen or heard, please switch off your camera and don't use the microphone. If you have any questions, though, you can always use the chat, and I will be the one who is voicing then your questions to the respective speakers. So don't worry about that. If you want to be seen and heard, of course, feel free also when we open up the question round to voice your questions yourself. So as I told you, KAIT is our founder center here. We focus on the region, on IT, and also on women, on female founders. And that's why we always use this International Women's Day as a platform to promote female founders, especially in the IT area, where we have mostly male founders, I have to say. And so we really want to promote at least mixed teams, because we think it's very useful to have mixed teams or even female founders. That's what we want to encourage. So thank you very much for being here, and I hand back to Huriye.
Thank you, Sabine. Thank you. And I would like to talk shortly about why we are marking or underlying that day, 8th March, International Women's Day. Because we gather to mark the day, actually, in International Women's Day. And it's a global awareness day. And it's not just a day to celebrate something. Actually, every year, 8th March, we are marking something. We are trying to understand women's accomplishments and of course, the difficulties as well. 8th March, actually, it's a commemorate the cultural, political, and socioeconomic achievements of women. It is also a focal point according to the women's rights, and take the attention to the issues such as gender equality, reproductive rights, or violence and abuse against women, and working conditions of women, as we are trying to take the issue today. So while we are marking this day, more than 100 female workers were died in a fire in a textile factory in New York on March 8 in 1857. Then in 1910 in Denmark, in Socialist Women Conference, they accepted that day as a celebration and awareness-raising day. Then, thanks to the United Nations General Assembly, in 1975, they accepted the day as International Working Women's Day. So they are, from that time till now, all over the world, we are celebrating the day as an accomplishment, as marking days of women rights and struggles, actually, and the day for awareness and remembrance all the discriminatory policies against women all over the world. Let me make the issue clear. There are no country in the world reach equal conditions for men, male, and females. It is still an ongoing process. For example, right now, I'm in Norway, which seems top of the equality accomplishments. Yes, okay, but they're trying to solve the different rules of women in the ice hockey than the male players when they need to body checking, for example. So all the countries, all the cultures, all the different parts of the world has inequalities and different levels, different issues in the women's rights and developments. Today, the main concern of our roundtable is women entrepreneurs, which represent about 1 in 3 growth-oriented entrepreneurs active in the world today. And when we look at the 2024 Women's Entrepreneurship Report, an increase of the 79% in the number of women who perceive business opportunities compared to the 20 years ago. So it is great accomplishments. We have to thank to this number of women in the world. However, fear of the failure among the women remains high, rising 50% over the past 2 decades, underscoring the importance of supportive policies and mentorship programs. So needs are there, and we will, of course, underline the needs as well in our roundtable. The report noted that 1 in 10 women entrepreneurs globally were in the early stage of starting a business. So women's startup rates were particularly high in low-income countries especially, and in Latin America and Caribbean. Women represents 1 in 4 high-growth entrepreneurs globally, with higher proportions in low-income countries and North America. So it seems that it is a solution, it is a key, women entrepreneurs, for the future agenda as well for the world. So we need a better support systems for women entrepreneurs. We need support their digitalization costs and access to the technologies as well. And yeah, we need to, of course, fight against the gender digital divide implications for markets in emerging economies and rural areas. Thanks to the sustainability efforts as well, governments can provide incentives in procurement processes that benefit women-led firms that place sustainability practices at the center of their business strategy. Yes, I don't want you to wait longer. Let's jump to our roundtable. And we have, again, universities, business participants, students, female NGOs, namely we have International Business of Women in Sustainability Development. This is an NGO in Turkish, newly established NGO with us. And I would like to thank to all participants and their incredible speeches. And we will learn today what does it mean to be a female entrepreneur in different parts of the world. We have, as you already heard, Professor Sabine Prosnek, and she is hosting the as a university, she's hosting this event, Johanneum University of Applied Science from Austria. We have Dr. Emma Ives from Edinburgh University, Napier University, Ireland, and she is the manager of Bright Red Triangle. We have Arunch Adivar. She represents both Medusa Textile as founder and a member of International Associations of Women in Sustainability Development. It's an NGO from Turkey. Anna Hafele is with us from Equidamus, Austria. And last but not least, we have Kasia Lipiori with us. She is co-founder of the Axe Boom Boom from Ireland. 4 incredible women and their incredible experiences we will hear. Please make yourself ready to hear their stories from the first hand. All participants in our first round, could you please tell us about your company and yourself? first round could be maybe the tell about yourself and your company.
Sorry, Hurriyet, just briefly. First, we have the keynote from Emma.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. First is the keynote from Emma, and then we have the discussion round. Sorry.
Yes, Emma, could you please, as a keynote speaker, thank you very much from the beginning. Could you please just tell us shortly about yourself and what are you having or how it is going? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here. So I am Emma Ives. I work at Bright Red Triangle in Edinburgh. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the work we've been doing about gender awareness in our enterprise support service. So.
And our next participant, Orange. Could you please just shortly, briefly tell about your company?
Of course. Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon here in Turkey. My name is Orange Adıvar. I'm the founder and co-partner of Medusa Textile in Turkey. Started in 2006. It's been quite a lot, like 18 years now. And also I am a member of NGO in Turkey, Izmir, which we are in the same city with Mrs. Huriye. Also, I'm representing our NGO, USKD. Huriye already told us about the initials, and that's all.
Thank you. And thank you. Anna Hafele also with us.
Hello to everybody. Thank you for the invitation to be a part of this today. I have founded a digital company which supports a sector where actually 80% of all the self-employed people are women. We focus on the equestrian sector, horse riding. And we want to bring some digitalization there and support the service providers in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Kasia, could you please tell about yourself and your company as well?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. Oh, my headphones. For inviting me over. It's a real pleasure to be part of this event. I'm calling you from Edinburgh in Scotland, and I run a social enterprise called Asha Boom Boom. We encourage all children out there to be active for life. We actually believe that everyone has a child inside of them, so we encourage everyone to be active for life. And we do that through capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial art, and djembe drumming, West African djembe drumming. And I'm here to really be part of this roundtable and tell you my view of the female entrepreneurship in Scotland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kasia. And when we already understood that all 4 women from 4 different fields of the business life, could you please describe the business climate in your country? And as what are the difficulties and rewards as a female entrepreneurs? And when you compare with the male entrepreneur, for example. Can we start from the same line?
Okay, then I will go ahead. Yeah, I think the sector of my business is textile manufacturing, where women really take part in Turkey. So I'm a little bit lucky, I can say that. But on the other side, being an entrepreneur as a woman, quite challenging in Turkey in several ways, such as finance, such as network, or such as being a mother. Working hours are late in the textile sector, and you have to be fully working like 8 hours or 7 hours, maybe approximately. So I can say that it's not just for my area or sector, but it's a common challenge in Turkey to be a businesswoman which is surprisingly going well, because all the girls and women are supported to be in the business life in Turkey. I am lucky because I was a member of a family where I was asked to be in business starting from the childhood, but I can say that not everyone as lucky as I am. I can say that mostly challenging. Yeah, I don't have to be so pessimistic, but I cannot see such benefits to be a woman entrepreneur in Turkey, being a woman entrepreneur in Turkey.
Thank you, Arunch. Thank you very much. Yes, you represented hope and also the challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. and next, can we continue with Anna?
Yes, of course. So I will talk a little bit about the entrepreneurship environment in Graz in Austria. And from a statistical point of view, Austria has the highest percentage of female founders in Europe. So I'm lucky to be here and to be one of many and not the only one compared to other countries. However, when it comes to investments, only 1 out of 10 euros, which is invested in startups, goes to female startups. So I think that's really interesting that there is such a big gap. And for me personally, I have never been a male founder and I will never be. So I think the comparison is difficult. And for me as a female entrepreneur, I have gotten so much support from the startup community, but I haven't gotten any support just because I'm a woman. So I think here in Graz, in Austria, in this community, young startups are very much supported. And there are a lot of initiatives for women. However, I personally have not yet gotten any support just because I'm a woman.
Thank you very much, Anna. Actually, yeah, we understood that it is highest entrepreneurs existed in Austria. It is a really good news for all of the Europe. Thank you. And Kasia, would you like to describe it from your country, from your perspective as well?
Absolutely. So I am based in Scotland, but I'm originally from Poland. So I thought I will give you a little bit of a background from there. I've never run a business in Poland, so I can only say from a perspective of being in a family that has a business. My dad runs a business, and it's very much a male-orientated environment. Nevertheless, I believe and I hope it is changing towards being open and supportive for both and all genders. Now being in Scotland and running both for-profit organization and non-for-profit organization, I think it's a difference in the world that we are in. Definitely Scotland going towards supporting all, and I look forward to hearing Emma and what Dr. Emma and what she has, the insight of what exactly is there for female entrepreneurship. I've been part of many programs for female only and for all as well. But from the sort of non-for-profit and profit perspective, there is definitely much more help and support in the non-for-profit as I experience. I'm not talking through statistics. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare any statistics for today, but I see how many female entrepreneurship is there in the third sector, in a non-for-profit sector. And I think it's a much higher percentage of female representatives there than it is in a profit-orientated sector. And probably because of that, I experience so much more support. And I'm super grateful for that. I look forward to more and look forward to experience more of finding out the ways for female entrepreneurship in both non-for-profit and profit, but that's yet to discover from me. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Thank you, Kasia. You underline the non-profit orientation attracts women more, and it is another key you underline it. Thank you very much. And I would like to hear a little bit more about your companies. You already tell us, but could you please just open a little bit for the people who are listening us? I understood the Medusa Textile is really an nearly 18 years old company, isn't it? So
Yeah.
could you please tell us a little bit about your companies as well to make it more clear to our listeners?
Okay. Yeah, sure. First of all, I studied textile fashion design at the university. I never worked as a designer as a profession. I was working as a merchandiser, which is buying and purchasing, a sort of sales and marketing department. I was in charge, and around I worked 7-8 years before I started up my own company, and it was by that time I was younger and having much more energy and passion about everything. It was a good luck because I was feeling that I should be doing it by myself. And I was traveling a lot, and it was a really nice business to be in, actually. We were producing for Zarva kids, Mango kids, etc. And it was really nice and to be in the manufacturing part of fashion business. So at 2006, when I was pregnant to my daughter, I decided that it will be too much for me to keep that busy business life, and I start my own business. And it was just I believe that being an entrepreneur is within some barriers and difficulties, because I have to find a solution. Okay, I have to earn money, and I was new married, having a baby, and it was sort of a decision that I have to do something, and I just have my computer and a small amount of money, and I just started emailing and trying to find some customers, trying to start up my business, etc. So it's gone well. It was early end of 90s, and it was early 2000, and we have several customers. And then my brother and sister involved to the business. And yeah, it's a sort of small family business now. We are now 48 people here. And yeah, it is considering the moment we have financially and economically, also in Europe and in Turkey, I can say it's tough at the moment. The market is getting tough and tight, and no margins, etc. Yeah, but we are still struggling and trying to find solutions to keep our customers and to keep producing what we produced in the past. So yeah, we are basically producing organic babies and kids clothing. And yeah, we give full service, like we are getting everything with emails, with the files, and making some samples, sending to Europe, to Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and getting approvals and confirmations from our customers first, and then going to production step and shipping it. And it took like 6-7 months to produce an order. But it's nice. I love what I do. Yeah.
Nice to hear that, Orange. I would like to ask name of your company, Medusa. Is
Yeah.
it deliberate choosing the name of the company because it is already giving the female aspect the name of your company? Is it a deliberate?
Yes, yes, exactly. It was the first name we found, and yeah, we choose it, and we love it actually. Yeah, it's a woman, you know, the story with the
Exactly.
snakes. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
the week ancient.
From the beginning, when I saw the Medusa, okay, she is also founder of female company. Yeah, we can understand that
But
from.
she's powerful at this, yeah, at the same time. So powerful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Orange. And Anna, would you like to just tell about your company and how many years, for example, how many years ago did you started that business? And please, thank you.
Well, actually, we founded this company last year, so we are really young. And our website went live in July last year. So what do we do? Thank you, thank you. Maybe you can imagine that if you're passionate for horses and you make it your job to teach other people how to ride, you prefer to be outside at the stable or in nature and not in front of your computer and to do online marketing. But we live in a digitalized world, and it's necessary. So that's where we support service providers in this sector, because we found there is nothing yet. So we build a platform. You can imagine it like booking.com, but for services in the equestrian sector. The name of my company is Equidamus, which means in Latin, we are horse riding together.
Thank you very much. It is incredible. It contains not just a business, it contains this history or experience and everything to hear that. Thank you. And Kasia, just tell us about Akse Boom Boom. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So I run a co-found Asha Boom Boom in 2021. So we're running just over 3 years. And that's based on our experience, myself and my husband experience in the business sector for the past 7 years. We started with our own businesses. My husband was in a coffee industry and myself in a wellness. And then COVID happened and obviously changed the lives of so many people, including ours. From my perspective, I had a many services, including personal training and capoeira. And actually, capoeira was the one that stayed on and people actually enjoyed it throughout the pandemic. And one day, myself and my husband were talking about like what is actually joyful in our life and what we can make better in. And we decided that both capoeira and jumbo jamming are things that brings us joy. We see how incredible our son develops with those tools, and we really wanted to share that with other families. We knew about social enterprise. Governance structure and how it works. We just find out more and more about it and fell in love in being a force for good, not only just a business, but actually force for good. Yeah, we are really encouraging people to be active regardless of their any of the backgrounds, finance, ethical backgrounds, location. We're really here to support them in having a healthy and active life. Yeah, I think that's, in a very nutshell, that's us, Asha Boom Boom.
Thank you very much, Kasia. And if we have any questions from our audience, you can please write it in the chat, and Sabina will gather them and just she will just make voice it to us. And
I just put it into the chat because I think you read it, Huria, that Emma's keynote will be after the discussion. So we just switched around our agenda so that people don't worry.
Okay, so we will have Emma's ideas and her suggestions after the just our rounds. So we are looking forward to hear more, the Emma. Then, when we come to the actually right now we are having NGOs, we are having students around us, and we are ready, and then they are ready to learn more. So well, maybe we can give them short and interesting on-hand information for their, if they want to be a female founder in the future for their companies. Maybe they have already in their minds to do something, but maybe because we are having 18 years old business in our roundtable and participants, and 1-year-old business participants in our table, and 3 years also. So maybe we can give them hand-on information for the female founders. What are the essentials or basic steps to be an entrepreneur? Female and male, it's okay, but what can they do if they are planning to be an entrepreneur in the long run? Would you like to start, Orange?
Yeah, I was just opening my microphone, sorry. Yeah, as you said, not being a male or female, yeah, it goes for everyone, I guess. It's just the keyword I should say is never give up. So, which is reminding me sustainability, because if we, the success comes from small things we do every day and constantly, and whatever it takes. Yeah, I know hard times, good, as I mentioned a while ago, it's not the best time of the world, actually. Yeah, as a trader, as a woman, as an entrepreneur, yeah, we are having so much difficulties with the financial issues, the world going strange at the moment, everything. We are just a little bit anxious and worried about the world. This is the first thing, I guess. But at the end, you should be sitting on in front of your computer or whatever you are doing. I don't know. If Kasia was in front of the drums, I can imagine. Yeah, it is the perfect thing to be. But yeah, what I do is I believe I should never give up, because I had to be struggling, trying to find solutions, whatever it takes. If it's too expensive, try to find cheaper. If it's too busy, yeah, I have to find a solution to solve it, etc. Yeah, I can say that.
Thank you, Orange. Actually, yeah, the motto is never give up. Actually, yeah. From your wordings, I get it. And small steps needs consistent steps. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
When we come to the Anna, what's your hand-on information to the students and the people who are listening right now with us?
So as Orange already said, we live in difficult times. So there are many problems which need solving. So this is why we need entrepreneurs. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, I think you have just to think about what you're passionate about and choose a problem which you want to solve. And then just work really, really hard to solve this problem for other people. It's not something that only concerns yourself, but of course you want to help other people with it. And I think another important thing is, if you want to become an entrepreneur and if you want to make your vision come true, you need to work together with people who support you, who share your vision, and who also are willing to work as hard as you do.
Thank you, Anna. It is really nice because you added more hand-on information. You said that, think about your passionate. You added more to the hardworking and passionate and follow, and also the working together you mentioned. Thank you very much. And Kasia, what do you think? what's hand-on information for future female founders right now who are listening us?
Absolutely. I would just top up what Amoj and Anna said already. I think those are great examples. I would really encourage you to be focused. Obviously, you're going to have your stage of ideas generation and testing things, which we're going to be throughout the life of your business. You're going to test different things, services and products, whichever your idea is. But stay focused. Stay focused. I like what Anna said about the passion, in terms of like being like you have identified a problem in service or in a product, find the solution and implement it. And yes, exactly like Alex said, never give up. But if you stay focused on what is that you want to do, both personally and for your business, I think you are a winner already, because there's so many days that I could just go in a corner. I want to go in a corner and cry, or just give up my entrepreneurship and just find a simple job that somebody will tell me what to do. Yet, I know that I like to be my own boss and I don't like people telling me what to do. So I do am focus on what is I'm here for, what are my customers, why am I serving them, the big why, what I do. And also that helps me, if an opportunity comes, it helps me identify if that opportunity good for me and my business or it's not. There's so many things that can come your way, and you need to choose where you're gonna put your time. So being focused, it's a very important skill that I've utilized and I encourage everyone to do.
Thank you, Kasia. Actually, yes, it is really important. You mentioned the focus on your ideas, test it, and implement it. So you define the whole business, actually. Thank you very much. And if the audience, if you have questions, please write to the chat, and Sabina will just voice them. And when we turn our participants again, what is your advice to the audience? You know, there are many students or the people who are searching to find their entrepreneur skills, because it is not that much easy, as well as you mentioned that. So what is your advice to the audience who are now following us to considering to be an entrepreneur as you are? For example, when did you started in this entrepreneurship career? You are, what was your background? So from your student life, what was your advices to the new generation? I know that we are passing through a little bit more difficult in the economic conditions, more difficult times. Therefore, maybe entrepreneurship will be key for our students for their future lives. Therefore, what's your advices to our students from the economical perspectives, or from the from your all your experiences as an entrepreneur?
Okay, I will go ahead again.
Yes.
And it will be a little bit similar what we talked. And as Anna said, finding out the passion inside you is really important, because you cannot bear a business that you cannot love to be in. Yeah, it should, because I'm always telling to my colleagues here also, we are spending much more time than our homes, our houses, you know. It is really important to be that. Of course, we have bad times. Yeah, as Kastya told, yeah, sometimes we can cry, yeah, the foods are backwards, etc. But at the end, the most of the time of our life as an adult is going to on our business life. So it is really important that you find something inside you that you love to do. So this is the most important thing, I guess. And also, Since I have an adult daughter, who is 18 years old, what I see is being focusing on the trade part, the cost, the money shouldn't be the priority, because your priority should be being successful, or being doing a job, or being finding a new customer, or something else to be done in your business. So it shouldn't be the money first, I guess.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yes, entrepreneurship is a long-lasting goal.
Long, yeah,
So
exactly.
focusing
Yeah.
on your passionates, you mentioned as well. Thank you very much. Anna, what's your reflection?
I think there are two important things you need to consider if you want to be an entrepreneur today. So first of all, you need to be flexible. So you cannot say, that's what I want to do, and I will do it no matter what. Because this is different than being focused. Because if the conditions change, if the requirements change, you also have to change and to adapt. And I think it's very important to stay flexible in your business, and especially in your mind. And another thing which is very important, I think, is empathy. You really need to understand your customers, you need to understand your coworkers. And if you have the wish to really help and support your customers and the other people around you, I think you will be successful. There will be no other choice. Yeah, I think these are the two main points at the moment which are very important for entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much, Anna. Actually, yes, flexibility, another key point you mentioned, that flexibility, because the time is changing. Right now, Orange told us 18 years ago she started, and the time is changing. So being a flexible as entrepreneur is the main issue here. And conditions and requirements, and understanding your co-workers as well. This is important issues you mentioned. Thank you very much. And Kasia, what's your suggestions and for our future entrepreneurs?
I would top up with, obviously, I really agree with ladies what they said as well. I would top up a little bit what I said earlier in terms of focus. So I said in the first one to focus on the business and how important it is to have this drive within you to run with it. But I would also like to add on to be focused on yourself as a person. I think this is such an important thing, especially for female entrepreneurs. Learn to ask for help, and help in terms of, I feel overwhelmed with emails. Can you help? Like a simple thing like that really makes a difference. And also switch off every now and then. Running your own business feels sometimes like 24 hours job, and we all have families, friends, partners, pets, and time away from the business is so important, if not actually more important. And what I mean by that is we work, as Anrich mentioned, most of our adult life is working. And of course, we do it for enjoyment as well. But I think what happened after work is also very vital. Like if you are constantly thinking about your business or in the business, where's life? So, and I'm not saying that it's easy, because I think about my business like 23 hours per day. I keep 1 hour for my family. It just really, it is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but if you can factor me time, or whatever you want to call it, like time to you to reflect, even what, like, are you still keeping, like, you still getting enjoyment? Are you still passionate about it? Are you still are you still on track, or maybe there's a need for a pivot in your life? So yeah, that's my add-on.
Thank you very much, Kasia. Actually, work and life balance, you describe us. Yes, we are working for future, but we should take care of ourselves, as the northern part of the world is saying exactly the same. Thank you very much. And do we have any questions? I don't know, from our listeners.
No, there are no questions in the chat. Nothing that I can see. No.
Dear students, please, we are here to voice, and we are having an informal platform now. You can ask whatever you want. We can try to answer. If we can't, at least we can take our notes and we can work on it. Even it can be, for example, all our participants. You didn't mention that. For example, if you want to be an entrepreneur, female entrepreneur, do you have any funds or something in your countries or in your cities which you can reach easily? Because these will be on the case for our students and for our young entrepreneurs, because these funds and these, especially I'm hearing every day much more such funds from, for example, for Turkish entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, as we are Orange and me, we are helping NGOs, female NGOs, and there are some funds already.
Now there are two questions. Yeah, how did you finance your life and business when you initially start your business, and how did you solve the problem when you met a financial problem?
Maybe with the same line we can go. Orange, can you answer, because first our listeners, then I can ask my question again. Yes, Orange.
Okay, yeah, I was just reading the question once again. How did you finance the life? And
we are solving our financial
I can be the worst one because I have no budget. I was just having my computer and I was just new married. But I was lucky that I have some savings a little bit, which was really small, but it was, I just make a small budget that the money I have will help me to save at least a year. So that was the timeline for me, because I was planning to be earning money within that year. So yeah, on the other hand, I was married, I have a partner, so he was also helping me to cover the expenses with the daily life, etc. But it was not easy because I was not earning my own money. I had a small budget and small money in my pocket, so a little difficult, to be honest. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah.
Orange, thank you for your sincere answer. Yes, small budget, but lots of intentions and lots of encouragement you added in your small budget. Okay, now we got it.
And a very small note. At that time, I had a small office, and my mother was supporting me with me like lunch boxes every day, because I was pregnant at the same time, have no time to cook, or with a small budget, but she was giving me something to eat, some fruit and etc., because every small cent was really important at that time.
Exactly. Network and family support is good in the agenda right now. Thank you, Orange.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Anna, how did you start? What was your budget issues?
Actually, a very similar situation to Orange. So I finished my studies, and maybe you know, after being a student, it's not that you have a pile of money on your bank account. So small budget to start with. I did some small jobs on the side to support myself, and I also could rely on a lot of support from my family, and also from the network. Actually, I got a lot of things for free, like a place to work, or support from coaches, or for example, legal support. So there was this very strong network which helped me to get on my feet.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, Arin's mother will be a starting point for all of us. She will prepare the lunch boxes for all of us. Kasia.
Yeah, so similarly to ladies, we've started with small budget from our actual previous businesses. We started in a quite of a struggle financially, actually, because we were starting in pandemic, and because of pandemic, both of our businesses needed to be closed. So we've been sort of looking for solution of what we could do. I'm not gonna lie, our credit card banks loved us during the pandemic, sadly. So we needed to tap into those reserves there, which are happily paid off, which I'm super happy. But what I wanted to say is that you need to be solution orientated, and like if you have an idea you want to follow, find solutions. Like Anna said, side job, absolutely. Like we couldn't do a side job, and because it was pandemic, so that was a bit of a struggle there. Nevertheless, before in our for-profit businesses, before Asha Bom Bom, we did do whatever it took to find the money to fund us. With social enterprise, we've been blessed to get support from local companies like First Sport, that I actually know Emma from, which is an incredible company helping to set up social enterprises here in Scotland. There's many organizations like that support social enterprises. There are some funding for for-profits companies in UK in general. With the current climate, it's a little bit more, it's harder to tap into funding. Nevertheless, we've been very successful with funding applications. That's one of my roles, to bring money into the business. So that's why I said 23 hours a day thinking of the business. I put a lot of time in bringing the money in, purely because we want to pay our employees, we want to pay ourselves, and at the end of the day, we want to help our beneficiaries, people we are here to serve. So having a solution orientated mindset is very important. You will find the money if you are really looking for. Is it a side job? Is it a grant? Is it a loan? Depending of your situation, maybe family. Andrew's mom can do the lunch boxes. You know, there's so many help out there. I think it's just you and your idea and how much you want it to be working for you. What life you want to run, basically. So.
Thank you, Kasia. Actually, yes, you mentioned that local companies and local support points as well. It is really important, and especially, for example, there are lots of local community help and also the female founders or female entrepreneurs. Some financial help exists not nowadays, at least last 5 years, we can say, in Turkey as well. So let's all our students or the future female founders or future female business people can work to or reach to these funding opportunities as well. Thank you very much. And do we have one more question?
Mm-hmm. No, currently there is no new question.
Okay.
So I think that's quite good. And Yao also said thank you for the interesting answers to her questions.
Okay.
So all her questions have been answered. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And thank you. If you
I think they can voice questions even later on. We could have the
Exactly.
keynote from Emma now, and afterwards
Uh-huh.
we can still make a discussion if you want to.
Of course.
So I would just, yeah.
Now we are ready and looking forward to hear more from Dr. Emma Ives. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
This will be where I forget how to share the screen and we're all twiddling our fingers, but let's see if I can get there. Thank you very much. And it's always a pleasure to hear from entrepreneurs. And I mean, that's my day job, is working with entrepreneurs to help them. And I've been doing lots of work, and I'll tell you a little bit about it in this presentation, particularly with women, but it's something that it fascinates me. I love hearing from women about what they're doing, why they're doing it. So it's been really enjoyable, and there's lots of comments in there that chimed with entrepreneurs that we've worked with over the years. Except I've never heard of someone's mum making lunch, which I really loved. So now I'm going to be suggesting that people get a free lunch from somewhere, because that's a nice piece. So thank you. I'm going to talk about gender aware enterprise support, which is something we've been working on at Napier University. It's a big part of my role because I've been in the university for a year, and I came in with, there was a kind of remit around, they wanted to engage with more women. So I'll give you a bit of context about Napier, but I wanted to talk to you about what's happening in Scotland and where this piece of work has come from. So Scottish context is that the businesses that are majority owned by women contribute about 8.8 billion to our Scottish economy, and that's around 231,000 jobs as well. So it's a really huge part of what we do. We've just had figures from last year, or 2023, so a couple of years ago, that said nearly half of, or around half of, early stage entrepreneurs were women. So that is an improvement that we've seen over the last, they've been tracking that through the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. But that's a shift that obviously we're incredibly proud of. But when we look at the business base as a whole, it's still only 20% of businesses are women owned. So there's something happening there around that early stage support that's encouraging more women. So there's a bit of a decrease in percentage of men starting their own business, and a bit of an increase in women. So it feels like there's opportunities there, but we're not managing to help those women sustain those businesses in some way that means overall we're still at this 20% figure. And in that Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, when they're looking at the Scottish data, there is what we described, the support for women entrepreneurship is described as less than satisfactory, giving it a 3 out of 10. So although I sit in that space where we're supporting women as well as men, we obviously offer support across the university, whether that's students, staff, or alumni. But we're trying to figure out what that challenge is. Why is the support not rated highly, and what are we missing? How can we do better? And it's quite exciting to hear that obviously in Austria there's a really high number of startups. So it's maybe we need to be looking, I know people are looking out, but how do we bring those examples to Scotland to do a bit better? And not just to focus on those challenges, but there are opportunities. So, and I won't hark this too much because I know I'm in a room probably of like-minded people who understand that women bring these diverse perspectives. They're seen to foster this inclusive leadership and develop solutions. And we've heard, I mean, we've obviously got Kasia here, but that social, environmental kind of challenges that are addressed are often places where we find women doing that work. So Kasia was right that in Scotland, social enterprises, about 71% are run by women. So that's a really huge number, and we shout about it all the time. And within that social enterprise sector, 55% of board members are women. So it's a place that's drawing in women. My background before I worked for Napier University was in Firstport, which is a kind of national agency that do funding and business support for social enterprise in particular. So it's something that's quite close to my heart. But when I see these numbers, and I've had this conversation, and when I'm doing training or when I'm doing kind of promotion work, I've had people challenge me and say, well, if 71% of these companies, these social enterprises, are run by women, why are we still supporting women? And I kind of love that challenge, because I end up saying, well, we don't know enough about that number. Social enterprises are not particularly known for really high rates of pay. There's a lot of aspiration there, but there's lots of people working and volunteering their time and potentially writing up that they're working part-time, but they're doing that 23-hour piece that was talked about. So there's not, for my liking, there's not enough information and there's not enough digging into it. And I know that when this 71% figure came out, that they didn't publish another figure, which was that when you scale those companies a bit more, so the ones who have higher turnover, the number of women in charge was down in the teens, so somewhere like 15, 17%. So hiding that is a bit of a frustration because it means we can't dig into it a bit more, but I understand the need to kind of promote the nice figures. And the other part of context that's happening in Scotland and the UK at the moment is that we've got a lot of government interest in women's enterprise. There's been a couple of big reports on female entrepreneurship, one from 2019, I think, that came out from the UK government, and one from, I want to say 2023 again, which was called the Pathways Report, which was a Scottish government piece. So there's movement in that space. People want to be doing better, want to be improving the services, but we're all doing our little bits towards that. I also wanted to introduce the Sustainable Development Goals. So again, some of you might be familiar with what these are. This is a UN kind of global initiative. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and this will make sense when I tell you a little bit about what we're doing and why. So you can see here that they've got numbers. It's a way of kind of focusing energy and activity in certain places. We're doing a bit of work around number 5, which is gender equality. So you'll see from this infographic that Sustainable Development Goal number 5 is about achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. So a lot of the work that we're doing comes under this banner. We are an enterprise service within a university, so we are not addressing everything around gender equality, but we're thinking about what is our part, how can we contribute to that, improving gender equality overall. But globally, we're not on track to make the shifts that we need to. So there's a lot within this, and I would encourage you to, if you haven't heard of the SDGs, to go and have a kind of dig around and find out more about them, because there's lots of data and lots of kind of really interesting work happening around them. And I've mentioned there, like, gender parity is 131 years away, which is completely wild. And I always put these things up in my office and things to think about, remind me that we're working towards something that's really important. And actually, even though I won't see pieces of that, my children and my grandchildren and so on hopefully will. Although I can't do the maths, I'm pretty sure no one's going to be 131. So maybe it's another generation. So I said I would explain what we do. So Edinburgh Napier University, I sit within a team called the Bright Red Triangle, and we are the enterprise service for the university. So we serve the students, we serve the staff and alumni, and we offer that for life. So we've got entrepreneurs who come back 40 years after graduating and engage with our services. And we've got people, who are still studying, people who are working, staff members who are maybe wanting to develop projects alongside their work. And we now have a partnership with 2 other institutions in Edinburgh. So we've got this really broad reach across the city. So Queen Margaret University and Edinburgh College, we deliver the kind of training, the support across all of those. And again, it's their students, staff and alumni. And that's quite new. So it's us trying to figure out how we do that, how we reach those different communities, and how we make the most of bringing those opportunities together. We've got quite a range of things, and I guess if there's lots of students in the room, and you'll understand from your own universities what might be similar to the offer there. So we have business advice, that's my day-to-day bread and butter. We've got funding opportunities. We run kind of pitch competitions and challenges where there's cash prizes. So particularly students or really recent graduates can access those pockets of money. We have a big focus on freelance support, so that's self-employment. We found that a large number of our community really end up down that pathway, maybe small, medium enterprises or working for themselves. So we've got a lot of support and resources for those groups. And we have a co-working space that is in the centre of Edinburgh, so people can come and use that space for free. I saw Kasia there the other day, so but I'm not there today. I'm at home today. But it's about us trying to figure out what people want. We're quite flexible. We've got access to global networks. It's really exciting to be in this room with all of you and hear those international perspectives as well. And the bit of work that I've been focusing on and kind of leading you into with the last few slides is our SDG 5 Living Lab. So I'll take you through what we've been doing there and how we've been trying to address that kind of gender inequality. I forgot to mention the team. So I've told you about how we're reaching across Edinburgh, but there's only 7 of us. I'm one of 3 enterprise managers, actually 4 enterprise managers, I'm now realising. We just had someone join us in the last couple of months. But a lot of the work we've been bringing together is not possible without that team. We work as it's quite exciting to be able to lead something that I'm very passionate about, but I rely on those other team members to kind of help me deliver and make that work possible. So the SDG 5 Living Lab, I'm going to tell you what a Living Lab is in a minute because I get confused about that title as well, but it started again before I was in my role. So the head of enterprise at university, who's called Nick Fannin, he developed a partnership with Women's Enterprise Scotland, and this is the kind of exciting work that I got to hit the ground running with when I started last year. And this makes sense, like this kind of collaborative working makes a lot of sense, partly because we're a small team, but also because it's really important for us to not be doing this alone, to really be sort of embracing that everybody has different knowledge and experience and networks that they can bring, and actually we learn from that, and that helps us to make sure that we're doing things that the community and our networks want. So the Living Lab title, we're still getting to grips with it. I have to explain it on a daily basis, but it's really about collaboration, co-creation, using data and that kind of data-informed approach to do sort of live testing. And that fits really well. All of our teams seem to be similarly like-minded, that we've got ideas and we like to try things out, and we use that kind of design thinking approach to prototype and test things and then incrementally improve them so that we're meeting the needs of the students and the staff and the alumni. But the other elements of Living Lab are about connecting with this wide range of stakeholders. So I've said there we started with this partnership with Women's Enterprise Scotland that allowed us to tap into their knowledge and expertise, and it saw them delivering some of the work that we really wanted to see started off in the university. But we're very much open to those collaborations, and I'll tell you again near the end about what I've got on my horizon, things that are playing around in my head at the moment. And that other key element of the Living Lab for us in particular is that link to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we're very focused on the SDG 5, but there is potential for that to expand. And I know that Nick, who is the head of enterprise, is really keen to look at the other SDGs and where we could be contributing to them as well. So the work that we've been doing and that I've been leading on has been looking at training, amplifying. There's a piece of funding that we've been able to put together, a sort of package, and that collaboration work. And it's all about advancing gender equality. So we're very focused on like trying to figure out what our contribution can be to improving gender equality and doing our best to move the dial a little bit. And this has been quite helpful for us. The training that we announced and delivered over the last year has seen our numbers of the women that we support increase by 10%. And that's a huge shift, actually, to come in. And I think we were sitting around 35 or 38% of the people that we work with were women, and now we're more in that kind of 50-50 space, which is fantastic. And it means there is a need. There was people were maybe waiting for something. So we've been running programs about business startup, about leadership. Next week is the last week of a program called Trailblazers, which is about design thinking. And this is a slight shift. Again, we've been doing that prototyping of the business startup courses and realizing that a lot of people actually want those enterprise skills, but not necessarily ready to start a business. So we've got we've opened up that space to say, like, these are the skills you can use, and you can come back to them. You don't have to be we're not firing everyone towards starting a business. We're just really thinking about what are those skills that you could use in a career. You could wait 20 years and come back and start a business. And I think this draws from the fact that there's some research that shows that the average age of someone setting up their own business is in their kind of 40s. So because we deal with a lot of students, the expectation is that people think we're starting off lots of student businesses, but actually if we're enabling those students and graduates to think about that and then come back when they're ready, that means that they've got those skills, they know where they are, they've got that lifetime support. So that's part of the reason and thinking behind that. We have been developing our website to be more visible about this activity that we're doing. So we've been pulling case studies, and this sits in that kind of amplifying work for the things that I want to do. And it is about, when I was describing what a living lab was and talking about collaboration and co-creation, it's not just about us and what we're doing. We want to provide a space where we can share what our community is doing, what our networks are doing. This is a slow building thing because it's only me in my capacity, but I'm having these fantastic conversations with people who are working around the themes of gender. So we've got Dr. Amy Beddoes here, who's one of our staff, who has been doing work around how media can be therapeutically meaningful for survivors of gender-based violence. So not really anything to do with our work as in our enterprise support, but it's about us saying we've got this platform, we're pushing this agenda, and we should be opening that up and sharing it with the community. So I encourage you to go and have a wee read of these. Fiona Stanley is another one who's written a book called An Autoethnography of Fitting In on Spinsterhood, Fatness and Backpacker Tourism. So I am like somewhat into reading that book, but it's again, trying to like juggle reading all the interesting things and getting the work done. So I would encourage you to have a look at that book too. I mentioned that we put together a bit of a funding package, and we're calling it our discretionary fund. So it's labelled up as a discretionary fund for women and gender minority entrepreneurs. And it's pockets of money between sort of £500 and £2,000. And it's us being aware that we have pitch competitions where people come and they do a kind of 2-minute pitch, or we've got innovation challenges that are week long, but those aren't necessarily as inclusive as what we need particularly for the research and the insights and the feedback we're getting from women, that not everyone is at that space where they're ready to pitch or they're comfortable pitching or they have the confidence to do that. And likewise, the commitment of time to do a week-long thing does exclude people. So if you've got caring responsibilities, if you're doing that juggle, which we know lots of women are, this is another space where people can just approach us, and we can use it to kind of encourage people and say, there is a bit of money, why don't you explore your ideas a bit more? So it's a kind of quieter way of funding, a bit more those kind of micro grant type ideas, but it allows us to fund people who might not normally approach us for money and let them explore an idea. And we're keeping it really light. We're learning as we go. So this is a new thing for us as well. So again, prototyping, testing it out and getting some feedback on whether it's working or not. And hopefully we'll end up with lots of case studies out of that too. And I mentioned the kind of core of everything in the Living Lab being about collaboration and co-creation. So these two organisations or projects are in my head. I've got conversations happening with some of the team that deliver the Ada Scotland Festival, which is all about gender diversity in computing and tech. And we're hoping that the next festival is October time, that we'll be able to, or might be September, we'll be able to deliver some enterprise work at that festival. And that'll be a nice space for us to explore and to be visible. And Procrastination Station do some amazing work with women with ADHD in particular. So we're looking at how do we develop, we have a kind of huge number of clients that we work with that are neurodivergent. So we're trying to think about how do we do better support there. And actually it felt like this was a really nice tie-in with the work that I've been doing on the SDG 5 Living Lab. So these are things that haven't happened yet, but they're in the pipeline for discussion. And this is almost like my call out at the end to say, I've talked to you about case studies, but we would absolutely love to share, you know, if there's anyone in this room who knows of or is doing anything that they would like to put up there, just let me know. The same with collaboration. We're very open to trying things out and working with new partners, because that's how we learn. So my email's at the end of this, and I'll put it in the chat as well. But some of those things, and I've kind of drawn on them in different places, we're looking at how we, yeah, probably slightly too many things at once, but that's the way my brain works as well. But we want to do a bit more around social entrepreneurship because we know it attracts women, and we know that maybe we don't understand like enough about are women going into that and then maybe not making enough money to survive, and can we do something to support that? We're looking at that work around underrepresented founders, whether it's neurodivergent founders, LGBTQ communities, and how we can continue to improve and develop those services. And I know that I mentioned that Nick is thinking about those other SDGs, so I'm sure that's something that's going to keep emerging in the work that we do, obviously within the capacity of that team of 7 people. But if the more we collaborate and partner, hopefully the more we can deliver without all kind of exploding. So yeah, any questions? I'll stop sharing, but you'll get I think Sabina's going to share the slides, so you'll have my email address. I'm fairly easy to hunt down. I'm very bad at emails, but LinkedIn is also a good place to find me. But thank you for listening. You're muted.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Emma. It is really incredible. Actually, you just not mentioned about Edinburgh Napier University's Bright Red Triangle. Actually, social entrepreneurship you mention and talk about, because this is the key of entrepreneurship, female entrepreneurship in the future, because in Turkey we are also debating that issue a lot. And you mentioned the SDGs, 17 SDGs, but we are focusing on the 5th of SDGs, and it is really important. Thank you very much. And also you mentioned that we don't have 131 years to make everything equal. So we need to just keep going and find network to work more for the future. Thank you very much. It is so important and nice perspective. You are just making the perspective bigger and brighter. Because right now we have entrepreneurs, and we got their experiences, and we are adding more as university, your social entrepreneurship case stories and your cases you shared. Thank you very much. It is important actually. And also we have NGOs with us, and International Women Association for Sustainability Development. It is important to add NGOs on the table, to add universities, NGOs, and women organizations, and everybody should be represented. And the future will be social entrepreneurship when actually it is for the future of the female entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for broadening our perspective. And for the concluding remarks, of course, the questions, all the participants.
We have 2 questions. Yeah. One would be from Anna and one would be from myself, but maybe Anna wants to start.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Sabine. In my opinion, I think it's very important when it comes to female entrepreneurship to focus on the strengths of female founders. Because also if you look at the statistics, for example, female-founded companies often are profitable earlier compared to companies founded only by men. So I would like to know, Emma, what is your experience? What special strengths did female founders bring with who you worked?
I like that comment actually that you said about they're profitable earlier. I could do a whole presentation on the amazing things that the reason why we should have more women entrepreneurs. I always hold it back a bit because yeah, that would get me lost. So special strengths that female entrepreneurs have. I think like each of you guys have mentioned something around this. Like there's that incredible empathy work that you mentioned earlier, that women are, not to say that men can't do that piece, but women have a natural affinity to be doing that empathy in the work that they do or thinking about. And that's, I guess, why they're drawn to social enterprise as well, because that impact is so important, being driven by their values. So I do have lots of conversations with entrepreneurs about being values led and about giving them that confidence to say it's okay to not, when you go to train, I've been to training sessions before where you've got people chanting about like making loads of money and, almost like shouting money, 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 which I've definitely heard once. And that doesn't always make sense to women. So I think this almost empowering them to say it's okay to be like, I actually want to help and I want to be driven by my values, and that's okay. And I think Aaron said that as well about, it's not just measuring success by money, it's about finding those measures that make sense to you. And I think we need to do more around supporting people to understand there's different ways to do that. I think other strengths are, and like the research backs this up, about managing teams. Women tend to be a bit more supportive and encouraging. And I say this, and I'm really conscious that I've got a brilliant manager who's a man, and I've had mixed in the past, men and women who do and don't fit that brief. But I think it's about, there's particular traits that are associated with being a woman that we should be celebrating, and we should be, again, that I think at the beginning you talked about, Sabina and Huye talked about making sure that like that equality work is for men as well. It's about saying you don't need to replicate what you think a man in entrepreneurship looks like. You can replicate what these incredible women are doing as well. And we need to be doing that swapping over work around that. But I've probably not answered the question there. There's so many strengths.
Thank
I
you,
can make
Emma.
a paper.
Actually, I have a follow-up question, if that's okay. So to me, it seems that it often boils down to financials, where the gap widens between the female and the male entrepreneurs. Do you have maybe a story or a case study about a startup where they were very successful with their financials, with their funding? Maybe something comes to your mind.
Yeah. I was going to say our figures about investment in particular are much worse than what you talked about in Austria. You said like 1 in 10 women are funded. I think it's like 2% in the UK of investment, venture capital money goes to women, and an even smaller number of that, I think it's like 0.02% goes to women of women of colour, ethnic minority backgrounds. So we have a big challenge there. But think of a positive example. So I've spent much of my time in that social enterprise space where it's more grant funding, and that's how Kasia and I met. And there's certainly a different mindset there. So I can't necessarily speak to that investment work. And I think I probably shouldn't be in those rooms because I get really riled up at. I did a presentation at a conference where there was a venture capitalist, and he did a presentation after. I asked a question about this. I'm totally wandering off on a point, but I asked him a question about why they don't fund any women, because he'd mentioned that there's hardly any women, they don't have any women on their staff, and it's just a struggle. And I said, well, maybe you should do something about that. And he basically very politely went, well, we don't want to fund people of lesser quality, and then shut me off and moved to a different comment. And I was like, oh, that's not the point. But so in that space, I don't have many comments other than that I want to get in there and change what they do and how they think. In the social enterprise funding space, certainly in Scotland, there's a lot of support for changing that narrative about who can be an entrepreneur. So there's some entrepreneurs who I've worked with who are neurodivergent, who are trying to say, we're bringing that lived experience. And I think this happens a lot in social enterprise. That lived experience is so vital and so important. And actually them really showing their values and really laying out for a funder, this is what we do and how it's important and how, you know, selling that story. That's the kind of thing I have much more experience of. And yeah, so that's not, again, I've dodged the question, but it's, I'm hopeful that there are really good examples of people being really successful with funding. And I think it's asking that question and not being afraid. And I think if the figures in Austria are stronger than they are elsewhere, it's keep pushing to make them better, but also share that with other people who are further back than you guys.
Maybe
Thank you
I
for
can
your
add a little
insights.
bit
儿
here.
子干啥呢？走不动道了呢，好像。你怎么像是走不动道了的感觉呢？
Was there a
天气这么
question?
好，你咋没出来玩呢？
I don't.
为啥呀？嗯哼，
Unfortunately, I couldn't
哇，回
understand
家
the
了，然后
language.
朋友玩觉得挺不乐意。
Maybe just
No,
pocket
ah.
conversation.
Yeah, maybe she just
Okay.
forgot to mute.
Okay.
I just wanted to add something from Austria because Emma, you mentioned several times. I'm not so convinced that we're doing any better, I have to admit, because we just discussed before that although we do have like 55% male founders, 45% female founders, but the higher the technology degree, and speak with that, more money and success, the higher the part of man is. And many female entrepreneurs are just one-person entrepreneurs, mostly in the care sector. So actually, I'm not convinced we're doing any better, I have to admit. And what I struggle with personally is because usually our government is promoting, well, women, of course, earn less money because they're not in technology. And then at the same amount, then like a week later, they come and say, we need nurses, we need child carers and so on. So I think maybe the problem is also that everything that is social and women is usually less paid, and everything that is male, you know, gets much more money. So I'm struggling a little bit with the values we put on those things, because why is it much more important to create a new motor for a new car than to look after young or old people, for example, or to take care for sick people, whatever. So yeah, I'm not convinced we're doing any better, I have to say, than Scotland.
Oh no. Well, I completely agree with that, because I do think, like, recently I've just been reading about, there's this obsession with unicorns and, you know, so there's huge scaling companies and lots of money. And you're right, like that gap, like why aren't women in tech? Why aren't women in computing? Why aren't they doing all the things where all the money is? And I absolutely believe that we've misunderstood where the values and where the money should be going. And all that research around like women in care are like, they're more like, I can't remember where I've read this actually, it must have been last night, but there was some stat around women in those spaces that are actually like, they're giving more, they're supporting more people, they're more likely to be sharing out that kind of wealth in a way that you wouldn't see in those big tech companies. And
also like we try to attract men to those female professions like care, childcare and so on. And then there is the survey that men usually answer, we don't work for that little money, you know. So men put more more importance to what they earn in there, whatever they do, than women. And so that's why I think also this explains a little bit the pay gap, because they only pay what they have to pay. And nobody is paying more just because they're nice or kind or something, but you have to ask for it. And I think that's one of the problems as well.
Yeah. That could be a whole session. That could be like a day-long event of just me shouting at the screen. Yeah.
And the equality ministries in northern part of the world are working to make these jobs more bright for the opposite genders to apply. They are setting the quotes and they are doing it actually. So we can learn more from their perspectives and add it to the other who needs it. They are doing a good job.
Yeah, I read something about Denmark, that they made a kind of leveling up. So the money from an IT person has to be the same amount like the money for a teacher, for example. But unfortunately, we don't have now a partner from Denmark whom we could ask. I just read a study about that.
That sounds like good work that could be rolled out, but yeah, resistance, I imagine, seeing from certain sectors.
Definitely. Oh, and there was just one thing, Emma, I wanted to add to you. I don't know if Sandra is anymore here with us, but she has a project called We Circular, so Women Entrepreneurship in the Circular Economy. So they are also working on the SDG goals of the UN in the sustainability sector for female entrepreneurs. And it's an EU project, and they collected like good practices from all over Europe. So if you need some use cases, I think I can send you then the contact details, but you
That'd
could
be great.
definitely, because we are there in the advisory board, so that's why we know a little bit about it. And there are quite good examples from all over Europe with female
Amazing.
entrepreneurs in the SDG goals.
Great. Yeah, I would love to be connected. That sounds good.
And
May I also add something? Hi, Simona speaking.
yes, Simona.
Hello, Simona.
Hi. Sorry, I don't have my camera on. Now I just say hi because I'm walking my dog at the moment.
Okay.
Nice.
Hi. I will turn the camera off again. Thank you a lot. It's really inspirational to hear all of you amazing women. It's very, yeah, big inspiration. I wanted to just add a small comment or my observation from international HR, where I've been working for almost 10 years. What I also noticed, especially by higher profiles, or also with dealing with expatriates, that also women do not negotiate their salaries as men do. Yeah. So what we noticed in HR very often is that women very quickly accepted some offers without negotiation, and men were extremely tough when negotiating, although sometimes the women who did not negotiate had better skills, and at the end they landed with very, very different salaries, although maybe women might be more qualified and also more experienced, but only due to negotiation skills, or let's say it's also about mindset and self-worth a little bit, what there is expressing. Women are just not raised this way, that they fight for their right and that they, you know, stubborn, stand at and are convinced about their value, and they also know how to communicate it. I found this always very, how to say, yeah, sad. Also, I think this starts when kids are baby age, yeah, how they are raised, and how they are learned that they are allowed or not allowed to stand behind their wishes and their rights. Yeah, this was for me always interesting to observe.
Yeah, thank
I
you,
don't have a solution for that.
Yeah.
It was just a how to say, a comment I wanted to add from HR perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Simona, because this is exactly another comment I had from an HR person. It was a guy, and he said he was really keen on getting women as well into the job. And he always asked the question here in Austria, how is your English? How are your English skills? And all the women said, well, yes, I mean, it's quite okay. I can communicate a little bit, but, you know, business English, not that good. And all the male, they said, well, fantastic, of course, I'm brilliant in English. And then he changed it a little bit because he noticed both have the same skill level, and now he always started to talk in English, and then he leveled it himself. So you see, it's the modest approach. We are modest. We don't want to boast with what we can do, and so of course that also leads to less money.
Yeah, it seems like always like men need to be talented in order to be successful, and women need to be you know, hardworking and good girls, and you need to earn it. Yeah, and with men it's almost like you are born with this gift that you already deserve money. So yeah, we need to change that. Yeah, I agree. Okay,
Exactly.
I will turn off my camera now, but I'm
Yeah, of
staying
course. Well,
online with you
change
because
that, or
I'm with the
adapt
dog
our
outside.
processes to that.
it's really valuable explanations from Simona. In the when we come to the Middle East or the Asian part of the story, it is the same. Females have 3 times longer CVs than the males for the acceptance of the job opportunities. Yeah, unfortunately, yes, this is the case. And it is, for example, Simona said that she doesn't know how to prevent it or for the future. For example, what the northern parts are doing, they are adding somebody more at the interviews, job interviews, just to be sure that job interview is going as it has to. The third person is representing just the job applicant's concerns, but he or she is not talking, just looking how they are doing these interviews. It is also just a solution for which the northern part found it. I want to just share it.
But really a great discussion you triggered, Emma, with your project, and I really love your work very much. I think it's really fantastic what you're doing. You and your team, because I know Nick, of course, for quite some time now.
I know. Hopefully I represented that yeah, I luckily came into a really supportive environment for this. So it's rare, because I've been in different roles where, yeah, you have those conversations where you're like, I want to do this work, it's important. And right now I'm in a space where they go, great, just do that. In previous roles, I've had, you have to do more justification, more like, why is this? And yeah, so managers, listen out, you need to be supporting people to do good stuff.
Thank you very much. And for the participants, would you like to add your last remarks or your conclusion wording, or what you would like to add for the conclusion?
I just want to thank you all of you, because it was really nice to hear your stories and share what I have been through all my life, maybe business life, and really nice to meet you all. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much for sharing your views and your experiences. And now, Anna, would you like to?
Yes, I would maybe like to add one last sentence, that I think we need to change the narrative also, that not to say that women are weak, they're underrepresented, they need support. But maybe look at it from a different angle, that there are so many people in this world, not only women, but also other underrepresented people, who have so many strengths and so much energy, and we desperately need that for our future, and that we want to just open the doors for all these people, because they are so strong, and not that they need our help because they are so weak. Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you, Anna, for participating, your sincere thoughts and your perspectives. Yes, look other underrepresented groups and look the world from all other angles. Thank you very much. And Kasia, would you like to add your last remarks?
Thank you very much. I would like to just top up what Andrej and Anna said. Super grateful to be in this room. Such a great conversation. I think there's lots we need to do still in this world. For the people who are in the participation and looking for starting your own business, it's a really great journey. It has ups and downs, but it's really worth doing. Making those changes, changing the narratives, changing the processes we have, and just enjoying the journey of being in this world, and helping it to be better, one person at a time. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Kasia. Yes, let's change the world, and with all the what it contains, let's change it together. Thank you very much, and Dr. Eves, would you like to add your last remarks as well?
Yeah, I think it's a huge thank you to everyone who spoke today, because I get so much out of hearing other people's perspectives and views. I'm going to go away and process some of that and think, what could we do with that? And I guess it's for everyone who's listening, is what are you going to do with, and this is, I guess, because I'm a business advisor and I'm used to asking people to, like, what are they going to do next? What are you going to do with this? It's all incredible to be and have the privilege to hear from entrepreneurs and to be in this space and listen. So what's your one thing? Is it, you know, connecting with someone? Is it starting your project? Is it just reminding yourself that you've got the power and the confidence? It doesn't have to be taking over the world. It can be really small. So think about what that is for you.
Thank you very much. And Sabine, yes, we are nearly 50 people in this room within 2 hours. Yes, we shared and we heard and we got a lots of motion and emotion. And thank you very much for being here. And Sabine, thank you for starting that female feature roundtable 4 years ago.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shuri, for moderating it again. Thank you all the participants for speaking here. Especially also thank you, Emma, of course, for your keynote. And I hope all the whole audience enjoyed it. And yeah, what are we going to do next? So that's the question. And I think we will continue to work like we do and to try to involve even more people. Oh, yes, thank you, Simona, also, because she was here in the morning as well. So thanks for joining in. And thank you to everybody. Thanks a lot.